we'd never done anything like this before. We've just learnt everything as we've gone along. So I'm going to tell you a bit about our story, what we've learnt, and some tips that could help you build your business. We're enjoying some nice growth at the moment, and I'm going to share with you how that's all coming about. So just to start, a little bit about ourselves. We're part-time Clean Easy distributors. We always have been, and we're full-time parents. We've got 3 children, as you can see there. There's Sophia and Phoebe, the 2 girls. Particularly like this picture because they look like they got on well together. So if any of you've got kids or siblings of your own, you know that's not always the case, and that age now. So I like that photo because they look like they get along well. And that's our little boy on the right, Javi. So you know, one of the things that we saw when we saw the Clean Easy business was a way in which we could kind of own our lives, and I'm going to illustrate that to you tonight. But it's just something really, really important because most people really never get to own their lives. They're always working their lives generally around a boss, a job, or maybe another business. But Clean Easy really does give you the opportunity to own your life. It gives you the opportunity to create your own income, to write your own check, but work the business around your family or around what you want to do, rather than you trying to fit your family in around a job. And I remember when I used to be at school and my dad was working and my mum didn't drive, so when it came to sports days and stuff like that, it wasn't that often that my parents were there, and I always asked the question, you know, why are my friends' mum and dads here and mine aren't? And that was because they didn't necessarily own their lives, and we saw that was an opportunity with this business, and it's great to be in a position that we're in control. So they're our kids. You know, it's great because we can work our Clean Easy business hard, but we can work it hard when they're at school, when Javi's at nursery, or of an evening when they've gone to bed. And all being well, Adele's putting them to bed as we speak. Okay, so like I said, we've been in 15 years now. We joined in September 1996. Just a little bit of background. I used to work for a company called Trebor Bassett. My job was merchandising confectionery in shops and petrol stations and things like that. And I'd kind of grown up and got jobs in pubs, and I'd taken a career in catering and just realised that that wasn't for me and was never going to give me any lifestyle. So I got out of that. I just started this new job with Trebor Bassett, and I went into one of my petrol stations one day, did my merchandising, and the guy got some business cards on the counter. I kind of know him, so you could say it was Warm Market or you could say it was 3 Foot Rule, but he basically told me about the business, and we just saw a way that we could earn some extra income to start with. Now, we were saving up to get married. I was lodging with a friend. Adele was still living at home with her mum and dad. Although we hadn't got loads of debt, I was carrying some student loans and some credit card bills and overdrafts and things from when I was at university. And I really wanted to pay those off because, like I say, we wanted to get married. We hadn't got rich parents that were going to be able to put any lavish wedding on or anything like that. We pretty much had to fund it ourselves. We also wanted to get our first house and get on the property ladder, so that was going to cost money. And we just saw Clean Easy as a way of spending time together outside of work, but earning some money rather than going out entertaining ourselves and spending it. So that's what we did, and we just got stuck in with the catalogues. We did also see the bigger opportunity. We did see a photograph of a guy called Chris Mason Paul. At the time, was earning twice in a month what I was earning in a year. And you just kind of can't ignore that and think, well, you know, if it's true and all that these people are doing is putting catalogues out and showing people how to do the same, you'd be insane not to have a go at it. And of course, we started off. My real kind of motivation in the early days was that I wanted a new motorbike. I'm into motorbikes, and I had to sell my bike because I just couldn't afford to be paying off the motorbike loan as well as trying to pay off all the other debt to make a deposit for the house and save money for the wedding. So that had to go, and that was kind of, you know, that was torture. And Adele wanted to leave work, and that was her main motivation. So I wanted a new motorbike, and Adele wanted to leave work. And you know, it's all really is about just finding something that really drives you, something that will make you go that extra mile and put that extra effort in that most people aren't prepared to put in to better their lives. So that's why we joined. What did we encounter? Probably the same as a lot of people. People said it wouldn't work. People said, well, you've got a proper job. Why do you need to do this? People made fun of us. But we just decided not to listen. All the people that made fun of us and all the people that kind of, poo-pooed our business idea, if you like, they hadn't been to the open evening. They hadn't been to the trainings. They didn't know what we knew. So, what right did they have to make any fun of what we were doing? And at the end of the day, they weren't earning the money. There were a couple of people that we told about the business, and although they weren't interested, they didn't ridicule us. They actually said, good for you, and you go for it. And you know what? They were a couple of successful people that realized if you want a better life, if you want something a little bit different than the mundane 9 to 5, go to work for 45 years for somebody else, if you want something different to that, you're going to have to do something different. And these guys realized that and praised us for actually getting stuck in and doing something a bit different and actually making an effort to make a better life for ourselves. So we just didn't listen to all the neckheads and people that kind of said it wouldn't work. And we just got on with the business. We went along to our first opportunity meeting, and that's really what kept us going, because even though you see what other people are achieving in the early days, I think it's quite normal, and it certainly was the case for us. You do question, are you doing the right thing? Will it work for me? And you might have that kind of negative self-talk, doubting what you're doing. And it was so important that we went along to that first opportunity meeting. And I was actually badgered to go along, and because it was somebody through work, it was a customer of mine, I couldn't really not turn up, because obviously I didn't want to jeopardize the work situation. So we thought, well, we'll go along, and then at least we've shown our faces and shown willing. But it was a real eye-opener that night, because we saw people earning various amounts of incomes, having been in the business various amounts of time, and it was a complete different, it was different than anything else I'd seen before, because the age range, and the backgrounds was so varied. But the main thing was is they were all earning money, and what they were doing was just simple stuff, putting catalogs out, showing people how to do the same, and marketing their business. So it just gave us a massive belief that there's absolutely no reason why this couldn't work for us, and there's absolutely no reason why this can't work for you if you work it. And hopefully I'm going to get some good tips across for you tonight. But also that evening we set our goals, and I'd never heard of goal setting, never done anything like that before. But the guy at the front actually did a goal setting session and made us all get our pads out and get some pens and write down everything that we really wanted out of life. And I wasn't really that sure that it was something I wanted to do, but it was one of these people that kind of stared into the audience, and you thought, he's going to pick on me in a minute, I better start writing. And we wrote down the easy stuff. He said, what would you do if you won the lottery? What would you buy? And then started throwing lots of other questions, where would you like to visit? What would you like to have? What would you like to give? And stuff like that. And we just started writing down this massive list, and we kind of got into it a little bit. But we were just really playing along, because at this stage, we were saving up the deposit for a house. We weren't thinking about, huge mansions or anything like that. We were just thinking about getting, a starter home. But we just put pen to paper and we just started writing stuff down. And we wrote basically a list of goals over 10 years. And we were just playing along. We were writing, big house with detached garage, on a nice double garage that kind of can put a motorbike in, and I'd love the idea of having a cabriolet car, and that could go in one side, and we put a holiday home down, and lots of stuff that, we were probably just, thought we were dreaming at the time, but we just went along with it. And then we started putting dates by all these things, and what we thought would take a year, and what we thought would take up to 10 years, and some in between. Things on a year, we just wanted stuff for the house, a kettle and a toaster, and we wanted to buy a new city, not a second-hand one. And then on the 10 years, we just put down the villas and all the big things that we thought it'd be great to really have. All the kind of things that we had when we were really kind of ambitious, when we were leaving university, thinking we were going to do this, that, and the other, before we'd actually been into the jobs and had all our ambition kicked out of us. So it was great to kind of relive that a little bit again. But we did look back at that list 10 years later, and you know what? We had ticked off the vast majority of things that were on that original list, and it's quite scary really when you think, what else could I have put down on this list if we knew we were going to get them all. But that was setting goals, and that really did help focus us. And a couple of other things here which you can see. There's a set of cassettes there. You can get them obviously on CD now, called The Art of Exceptional Living by Jim Rohn. You know, that just changed our lives, for the better, changed the way we thought about not only our business, but our lives and our relationships and everything. And I always remember saying to one of my friends, look, listen to these cassettes, it'll change your life. I remember this guy saying to me, oh, nothing can change your life, that's up to you. And it's really funny because he was actually in the business, and then he listened to the cassettes later on, and I overheard him at a meeting saying, you've got to listen to these, it'll change your life. So it might sound like a bit of a cliche, but I promise you, if you listen to the material and you start putting some of this stuff into practice, it really does change you for the better. And now there's a couple of CDs now called Making the Shift by Darren Hardy. And Darren Hardy's got a lot of respect for Jim Rohn, and even uses some of Jim Rohn's materials, and some clips from those cassettes in um, that 2 CD set. I think you can get them from Knowledge is King for about £8. You may be able to get them even cheaper from within your team. So speak to your upline and find out where you can get hold of them. I can tell you what, whether it's £8, whether it's £10 you buy them, it will be the best £10 you ever spend. Absolutely no doubt about it. We had to buy that 6 set of cassettes. We borrowed them. And then Adele put them in her car one day and pulled the cassette out, and all the tape was coming out and it was all tangled up inside. So we had to buy them to replace them. But I tell you what, that was £60, the best £60 I've ever spent, and we couldn't afford £60 then. But you know what? We're so glad we got them, because it meant we could keep them and we could listen to them time and time and time again. So that kept us going, and that's key, getting to stuff. So what I want to talk a little bit about this evening is you guys getting into gear and really moving your business forward. The company at the moment, I think, are just mega, the stuff that they're doing to help us build our businesses, all the developments that are coming out. And I think if we don't seize all this now and start pushing, I'd say in the next 4 or 5 years, if you don't grasp it now, you're going to look back and regret and think, oh, I wish I'd have really got stuck in then. That's how excited we are about the business at the moment. So it's really, really important to consider your priorities. There's just a few items on there: family, hobbies, clean, easy, job, leisure time, holidays. Just have a little think about what your priorities are. And most people will put family at the top and say, my family is the most important thing. But you know what? Most people's priorities, whether they actually realize it or not, is their job. Okay? Because if the boss phones up and says, I need you and it's important, most people would sacrifice whatever they're doing, whether it be a hobby, leisure time, holiday time, time with their family. They'd go to work if it meant keeping their job. And most people, although they don't realize it, their job sits at the very, very top. Clean Easy, well, do you know what? For me, Clean Easy is all about, it's all about you. It's all about yourself, what you want out of your life. Clean Easy is just a vehicle. It's not being committed or dedicated to a corporate body. Clean Easy is just a vehicle that's going to get you the kind of life that you really, really want. So if you know what life you really, really want, get excited about that and make that your priority. If your Clean Easy business gets very near to the top, or to the top of your priority list for a period of time, and I'm not talking a massive period of time, just a couple of years, maybe 3 to 5 years. But you know what? If you really commit to yourself and your goals by using the Clean Easy business to provide you not only income but time, and it's the only thing I know that provides the two, then you know what? All those other things could come to the top, and you wouldn't even need the job. And you could get to the point where you can literally do what you want to do and just fit your business in and around. But it will have to take priority in the early days. There will have to be sacrifices in the early days if you want to earn a decent residual income. Okay, a residual income, an income that you're going to get for life, whatever you're doing. Okay, being paid for what you've done rather than being paid for what you're currently doing. Okay, we're not being paid at the moment for what we're currently doing. We're going to reap the rewards in a few years' time. We're being paid now what we did in our first 4 to 5 years in the business, where we really got stuck in, we made it a priority, we built it strong, and that business has stayed with us ever since. So get Clean Easy near the top, because that's the thing that's going to give you all these other things as priorities later on. So just consider how many hours you have per week. We built this business up part-time. We got to the senior executive distributor level part-time, around full-time jobs. So how many hours do you have per week? Well, most people, I know in Stoke-on-Trent, we've got 168. So if you work it out, you should have 168 too. So let's look at how much time we've got. Let's say we give yourselves 8 hours a night sleep. I know a lot of people don't have 8 hours, but let's be generous and let's give everybody 8 hours per night sleep. So that's 56 hours you just write off in a week just for sleep. You know, you're unconscious for nearly a third of your life. Doesn't it make sense to make the most of the 2/3 where you're awake? So let's write 56 off for sleep. Let's take off 47.5 hours for a job. So let's say you're working full time, or let's say you're doing lots of retail because it's your main source of income. Put 40 hours into that, and an hour and a half a day, 5 days a week for working commuting. So that's 47.5 hours you're going to lose for working and commuting to and from work. And then you've got to eat. You've got to prepare a meal, and you've got to have some food. Okay. Um, some of us need less food than others. I'm a fan of cake, and I can't cope without that. I'll give away my meals for my puddings, but you know, let's put some time in there. Let's put an hour and a half a day and 7 days a week for preparing a meal and having some food. And then let's just write off a couple of hours a day. Let's just throw them in the bin. Leisure time, doing whatever you want to do. 2 hours a day. Let's just get shot of those. You work all that out, guys. You're still left with 40 hours a week. Do you know you can put as much time into Clean Easy, which is about you and your better life and your future, than you can for a boss? Why work 40 hours for a boss, making somebody else's dreams come true, making somebody else, you know, goals a reality? Why not be just as committed to you and your better life and put the same amount of time into you that you do for a boss? Just ask yourself that question. Would it be worth it? Especially if it meant you could sack that boss. Sack that boss and either put even more hours into working your Clean Easy business and building your future, or just take those hours back, because that's what we did, guys. That's what we did. We used to just use every hour we could working the business until we could get rid of the job, and then we didn't need that job and that boss at all. And the way in which we did that was quite simply just using a weekly planner. Simple weekly planner. If you're busy, then you know it's bizarre. Sometimes you find that the busier people actually put more time into the business, but it's just all about getting organized and getting disciplined. And all you need to do is just write off when you can't build your Clean Easy business. So for people that have got full-time jobs, maybe you know 8 till 6 with your commuting, you're at work, so you can't do anything in your Clean Easy business. So you need to write that time off. Or if you've got any other things, if you know you're a churchgoer, you can't do Sunday morning, write that off and just cram as much as you can in to the other times. But having said that, there's nothing stopping you doing networking activity whilst you're at work. When I was working, I'd keep my ear to the ground, and if people hinted that they were unhappy with their job or they wanted to earn some extra money, you know, I'd always pop them a business card or whatever, even if it wasn't appropriate to go into a pitch about the business. I'd always leave people with information. When Adele was at work, she actually had an official lunch hour, although I didn't. I tended to work through mine and get home as quickly as possible so we could get on with the business. Adele would go out because she'd have an official lunch hour and she'd do some activity, and it might be putting a few cards out, it might be putting an ad in the local shop, it could be anything. And you know what? One day she went and put an ad in the local supermarket. She bought some sandwiches, went to listen to some cassettes in the car, but just put a shop ad in. And somebody responded to that shop ad. And it's not always about the people that respond to your activity. It's that ball you get rolling, and you never know which one's gonna snowball for you. She put this ad in this shop. A lady responded to the ad. She put an ad in her car. Somebody responded to the car. He put a business card out. Somebody responded to the business card and sponsored their friend. That friend was the guy that Jamie Stewart interviewed a couple of weeks ago now, possibly a week ago, a guy called Paul Torn, who used to work for the council. That leg grew over the last 15 years. And do you know what? That leg has paid us in excess of £250,000. £250,000 for putting the shop card out. That's not bad going, is it? But you know what? We didn't know which shop card, we didn't know, you know, which shop or anything. But just by putting lots and lots of shop cards out, lots and lots of cards, lots and lots of flyers, lots and lots of ads, lots and lots of stuff, you're just increasing the chances that, you don't know which little ball that's going to get rolling on a snowball. So just take your business with you. You'll be amazed how much you can fit in just by doing stuff on a regular basis. And if you've read the compound effect or you've heard of the compound effect, that's what happens. It just compounds over a period of time. Even if you just did a shop ad a day, how many shop ads would that be over 5 years? Just think about it. If you want to get paid a lot for doing a little, you must first do lots whilst being paid a little. Do understand that, guys. That's our first check. If you can't see it, it's £63.47. They didn't show the retail profit on checks when we joined, but it totaled about £220. But I actually remember working out my hourly rate at one point and chuckling to myself and thinking, crikey, is this really worth it? Because we didn't realise at the time that we were building something, but we soon realised that because we went to the events and we learnt the business. So it's really important that you need to be putting lots and lots of effort in early days if ever you want to get to the point where you're getting a big check and you're not having to put so much effort in. And we all start at the same point. That was our first 4 weeks in the business. Now, Andy insisted tonight that I had the webcam on. Normally I just have a picture and I tell people I'm just having a drink of water now. So there's proof to my team that that it's water. And there's the backup wine for if we have another technical hitch. They all think I just drink wine all the time. Right, okay, moving on. It isn't just about the hours that you put in. It's what you put into the hours as well. Okay, so you can put 40 hours a week into your business, you can put 40 hours a week into your better future, but it's what you do in those hours. It's not like a job where you're getting paid per hour. Okay, has anybody worked with anybody before who seems to just attend, okay, and just hang around until the end of the day and they still get paid the same as you do? Can be really frustrating, can't it? With Clean Easy, it's about what you put into those hours. So don't just think, oh, this is how much time I'm spending on it. Is it quality stuff? Is it basically creating orders from catalogues or speaking to people about the business? Because those are the two things we get paid on. Do you know what? There is so much help and support out there that you do not need to design or come up with anything. You just need to question, what am I doing now that's moving my business forward? And if it's not putting out or collecting in catalogues or talking to somebody about the business, chances are it's what we call a non-income producing activity. So do look at what you're doing and make sure you don't just waste time, you spend it wisely. And you know what? You can make excuses or you can build your business. You can't do both. One thing those cassettes helped us with in the early days was getting our attitude right. And it's quite easy just to kind of blame circumstances or blame something else why your business isn't moving forward. And you know what? There's always somebody else who maybe have got more of a difficulty than you have, has got more problems or a worse job or more children to look after or even a disability. There's always people that will make it work and people that won't. What you've got to just decide is you're going to be one of those people who's going to make it work and not look for excuses. And just look, if you point the finger of blame at something else why your business isn't moving forward, just look there, there's 3 pointing back at you. Okay, there's 3 pointing back at you. So just take responsibility. It's your business, it's your life that you're creating. So just look at what you can do to move it forward, not focus on what possibly could be holding you back. Because you're going to get challenges. We all get challenges. You've got to expect them. Okay, you've got to expect them. If you're not having any challenges in your business, I'm sorry, you're not doing enough. Okay, because if you're building your business, you're going to get challenges. So just expect them, welcome them, because it means you're moving forward. It means you're learning. You just need to recover quickly and understand they're going to help you grow, but they're going to make you a better sponsor. Okay, we get paid residual income because of our ability to help people build their own businesses, called being a decent sponsor. And the more you have to overcome and the more challenges you face, the better a sponsor you're going to be, the more equipped you're going to be to help other people build their businesses, and that will reflect in your income later on. So just expect the challenges and welcome them, get over them, and understand that's growing pains. The biggest challenge we've got at the moment is the weather. I can't believe it's July. You know, we're not just getting the rain coming down now. We've got that rain that's that hard. It's bouncing off the pavement. Who's been wet round to their ankles and up their legs because the rain's bouncing that hard? Well, you know, I always say you're not a proper Clean Easy distributor till you've been wet through to your underpants. And I always remember one year that I was working with my sister. We were building the business and doing lots of retail. She was qualifying for Monte Carlo, and we had 3 runs of catalogues to do in one day, and it just didn't stop from start to finish. I had to wear a cap just to stop the rain running down my face, and I got through 3 sets of underpants that day. So ever since then, I've just stopped wearing pants if it's raining. So if you don't like getting wet through to your pants, just don't wear any. And the other challenge that most of us have to face are these miserable people. You've all met them. You know, just feel sorry for them. They're not the most attractive people. Just a little tip for you: if somebody's been really miserable to you, just smile and just think to yourself, God, they're ugly. Ever likely they're so miserable, and smile and move on. The nice thing about this is we don't have to put up with regulars. We're not working in a shop. We're not working in a hotel like I used to work and used to get regulars that come in that were always blooming miserable, and you just had to put up with it. We choose our customers. So, you know, a lot of the challenges that we get, and there's just a couple of retail ones there, they're very short term because you can learn to avoid them. So we've started the business to earn some extra money towards our house and the wedding, and we got our first house pretty quickly, and it was great to be able to furnish it with nice things because we were in control of that retail income. That first check, £220, was brilliant because we just realised at that point that we could go out next month and earn some extra money. We didn't have to go groveling to a boss. We didn't have to hope that somebody was going to move on and we could take a promotion at work. You know, we were in control now. And 8 years into the business, we'd moved twice. And this is the house that we now live in. This is the house that we wrote down 15 years ago. You know, a big detached double house, 5 bedrooms, double garage. You know, this was the house that we wrote down, and we didn't realise it. You know, Clean Easy really is all about deciding what you want, and just building a plan and a platform to go out and get it. When we went to the training that evening, the guy at the front said, you know, I think he quoted the Spice Girls at the time, singing a song, "What do you want? What do you really, really want?" You know, not what would you like, or you know, what can you afford, or you know, it's not about accepting second best. We only live once. You know, why not be the best you can be and have the best things? Have what you really, really want. When we joined the business, Adela got an old S-Reg, red and rust Mini, and we were told to put an advert on the back that said need an extra income. And you know what? We were reluctant to do it because we thought people would think it was us asking for an extra income, not advertising one. But you know what? Even though we were reluctant to do it, all that me and Adele have ever done in Clean Easy is copy successful people. Even now, I go around to events all over the country and I just copy what people are doing. I was in Bracknell a couple of nights ago. I wrote 3 things down that we're now going to copy and integrate into our business. We've not been creative. We've just copied what successful people are doing. So guys, just do the same thing. We stuck that advert on the back of that old knackered Mini, and you know what? Somebody knocked on the door and said, "What's that all about?" We didn't know what to say. We were brand new. We just gave them the video. It's now a DVD. Just give people the DVD. Let the tools do the job for you. You know, the easiest presentations can be the best ones, and it can be literally sitting somebody down and just watching that DVD with them. We had various cars that the Mini had to go. It wasn't practical for the business. It turned into a Fiat Punto, I think, and then an Uno. One of them met that tape. And then one day I turned up with a BMW box van, and that yellow Mini on the top left rolled off the back. I surprised her with that brand new Mini, and it was out of the showroom, and I got it for Christmas. And you know, that was just amazing to be able to do that, and that was down to the business. We've had a cabriolet one there on the top right hand side. We've had a white one. She wanted a white one with black bonnet stripes. That one's there, and we've just traded that in now for a new Cooper S diesel, because I'm a bit of a speed freak, I have to admit, but I've got the Cooper S diesel, so I can try and be economical and good to the environment as well. But we went in to get that car, and if you know, Minis or BMWs are the kind of cars that you know you just basically get a base model and then add on what you want. And we were just adding on these things, thinking, oh, you know, what can we afford? What should we have? What shouldn't we have? And the guy said, well, look, what most people do, what most people normally do, is put everything they want on, and then they start taking them off until they come to the budget that they can afford. So we thought, well, that sounds like a fine idea. So we just put everything on that we wanted, and he said, right, now what most normal people do is take everything off to what they can afford. And we just looked at one another and thought, well, hang on, we're not normal, because normal is going to work for somebody else for 45 years to end up poor, and only having what you can afford. So actually, we better just leave it as it is. And that was just brilliant, just to be able to say, well, hang on, no, we'll just have it how we want it. So she's got a full clean cream leather interior that she's always wanted, even chrome mirrors and heated seats and just everything. And that's just basically down because to us being in control of our income, not worrying about budgeting to a salary. If we've overspent a little bit, you know what, we can put some more books out or we sponsor some more people. It's all about lifestyle and just having and doing what you really, really want. Few years ago now, we set a goal to spend some time over in Spain. I've always wanted to kind of live there, and emigrate, and it's not something that's been up Adele's wanted to do. She likes it in the UK. Don't know why, but she does. Um, and we just got to thinking, well, what's stopping us just going and for a year and having a year there? I wanted the kids to learn Spanish. I wanted them to be bilingual. It's something I never had, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Offering the next generation something else. So we planned that, and we bought this apartment in Alicante and spent a year over in Spain. And then we came back, got stuck into the business again, and worked the business, started building it up as you do. And then last year we decided to do it again. So we came back to the UK on Christmas Eve last year, and we spent a year in Murcia in a house that we'd bought. So we've got an apartment in Spain that we bought with my brother, and we've got a villa there as well. And this is all paid for from Clean Easy. Remember 15 years ago we wrote down villa in Spain. Never really thought at the time it happened, but it has, and there it is. This is the girls going to school, and just a lesson you can learn from kids. They're so adaptable and they're so open to learning, and they can just, they think they can do absolutely anything because there's nothing restricting them, and they just go for it. And I think adults should just go for it sometimes. I remember Sophia, she was only 6 at the time, going into school saying, how are we going to know what they're saying? How are we going to learn Spanish? And I just said to her, how did you learn English? I said, you just learned it, didn't you? She said, oh yeah, okay, fair enough. And went in and then just listened, and 6 months down the line, she was just chatting away in Spanish to her friends, and Phoebe the same at age 4. So, just an absolutely brilliant experience, and great to be able to do something like that for the kids. So you've got to find out what your dreams and ambitions are. It's so worth working hard in the early days if it means you can do the things that you really, really want to do, and you can live those dreams. So, it's worth every ounce of effort, every ounce of disappointment, every challenge on the roller coaster ride of building your business. If you can just get your life back and do things that you want to do. We were there for over a year this time. I'm not an owner of a motorcycle anymore because just from safety reasons and being a responsible father. So this is my new motorbike now. It's one that floats, and the great thing about this is you can put the kids on, you can tow inflatable toys, and you can just have a great time and involve the family rather than Adele panicking that I've disappeared and hoping I'm going to come back again. And this is the Mar Menor where we were living prior to Christmas over in Spain. And if you just look on the horizon there, you'll see some skyscrapers, and that's called La Manga Strip. And the other side of La Manga Strip is the Mediterranean Sea. And it's great and nice and safe playing on the Mar Menor, but if you get out onto the Mediterranean, you can get some serious waves, and on a jet ski you can jump the waves and fly through the air and land again, and it's all great fun if you're a bit of a nutter like myself. Um, but if you want to get out onto the Mediterranean, if you look to the right of that map, you can see that Mar Menor is a massive expanse of water. There's a little island just on the right hand side on the Mediterranean there, and if you want to get out there, there's a harbour, but the only way to find that harbour, because it's so far away, is to focus on that little island. And it's so much like the business. There's a reason for this story, guys. If you focus on that island and just point the ski and you tank it along, you'll find the harbour and you'll get through onto the Mediterranean, and that's the prize. If you don't focus on the island, you just aim for anywhere, you could end up anywhere along that La Manga Strip and you wouldn't know where you are. You'd be up and down all day trying to find that opening. And when you look behind you, if you've ever been on a boat and look behind you, get white water. But you know what? The white water's never in a straight line. You know, you're focusing on the island and you're going in a straight line. You think you're going perfectly level, but you're not. And that's because there's waves, and these are the challenges in the business. There's little waves and ripples in the water trying to knock you on off course. But as long as you stay focused, you'll reach your destination. And every time I look back, that white water's never in a straight line. And it's so like the business. You've just got to focus on whatever it is you want and you will get it. And that's so important. We achieved a BMW 3 Series out of Clean Easy. That's us being awarded the car at the NIA and then it being delivered to the house. You know, a really surreal moment. But you know, these aren't prizes. These are in the pay plan. You achieve them, you qualify for them, and anybody can have them at any time. And Clean Easy will give away as many as people wish to qualify for. On that day, they gave away £250,000 on one day. And you've just got to, you know, decide what it is you want to commit to consistent massive action. You've really just got to focus on the activity. You know, the results are inevitable. You know, if you do enough, the results will come. So just have a clear vision of where you're going, just like I do when I'm going out onto the Mediterranean, and you will get there as long as you're putting the right activity in. And I'm coming to the end now, and just a simple thing, guys. If you want to grow, just change your numbers. You know, our business is growing really well this year. Well, probably better than it has done for a long time. And do you know what? We just changed the numbers. There really is no secret. We've been to meetings all around the country. We've spoke to leaders throughout the business. And do you know what? They all do about the same in terms of what they say, what information they use, what adverts they use. It's all about the same. Okay? The common denominator every time between people who are moving faster than others is the amount of work that they're doing. They just change the numbers. If your business isn't going the way you want it to, change the numbers. If you're not getting enough orders from your catalogue, change the numbers, put more out. If you're not getting enough enquiries, change the numbers, put more pieces of activity out there to generate more enquiries. And all that we did is in September last year, when New York was announced, and it's always been a major goal for us, and we always said the only better thing than going to New York was if Clean Easy would take us, because we knew they'd take us to the best hotel, and we'd have all the best trips and the best restaurants, you know, and money just couldn't buy that. So when we saw that announced, we decided then, even though we were in Spain, not even in the UK, we changed the numbers. You know, the business is fantastic now, you know, with systems like this to train and to support people, and the way we can sign people in online. You know, we just started working from there and started changing the numbers, increasing the people that were coming through, and because we were pushing the business hard before we even got back to the UK, it was growing great in the first year, in this year, sorry. So do understand there is that incubation. If you change the numbers now, you're going to have to wait a few months before you see it. So just focus on that activity and develop that do it now philosophy. I'm sure things prop up with you all the time, the same as they prop up with us. You know, I think, oh, I really need to do that. Instead of thinking I really need to do that, just do it. You get so much more done in the day if you just develop that do it now philosophy and get things out of the way. And for my last slide, I'm just going to put Phoebe back on there, you know, and I love this picture because she's just got this facial expression that says, you know, I've got no worries in the world, you know, and that's what the business can do for you. It can really sort out your money worries and give you time to enjoy life. And we were talking one day about what the kids want to do when they leave school and what do they want to do when they grow up. And Phoebe just turned around and said, I want to do what Daddy does. And Adele thought she wanted to do Clean Easy, and she said, why Phoebe? And she says, I want to do what Daddy does because Daddy doesn't do anything. How cool is that, that your kids don't understand how we make a living because they don't see us working that often, because we spend the time with them and we work the business when they're at school and we work the business when they're in bed, and we've built up this residual income that means we can take some serious time out. We're going over to Spain next week. We're going to be there for about 4 or 5 weeks. I haven't even decided yet when we're going to come back. Do you know why? Because we've got a residual income and because we can work the business from there, and that is open to absolutely any of you. Just be prepared to make some sacrifices, get Clean Easy up that priority list, which is just you and your dreams, and get stuck in, guys. Don't regret in 5 years time that you didn't put your foot down on the pedal now, because the business is going to soar, and we'll see you all on one of the conferences or one of the events soon. Thank you very much for inviting us along. I hope that's been of some use to you. Thanks again, Andy and Sue, for putting this on. I don't know what I'm supposed to do now, but I'm going to turn my microphone off, and hopefully Andy will pop back in and finish